morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard the Estina. Before we get into Loch Lomond, we'd like to make you aware of some of the following safety regulations. In the unlikely event of an emergency, a member of our crew will inform you, and could you please make your way to the nearest exits at the open sides of the boat. We have life rafts and buoyancy aids on board the vessel, capable of supporting 180 people. Please note, in the interest of safety, there is no smoking or vaping or e-cigarettes permitted during the cruise. During the cruise, the boat may rock due to passing power boats or weather conditions. Please take extra care if you're not in your seats. Can we also ask that children remain seated and supervised at all times throughout the cruise, and to refrain from running on the decks and stairs while the boat is in motion. The bar downstairs will shortly be opened for the sale of beers, spirits and soft drinks, with tea and coffee also available. The toilets are located in the bottom deck to the rear of the vessel. Thank you for listening. Enjoy your cruise.
यहाँ पे स्कॉटलैंड में आके लोक लॉमंड में कैसे हुए इतना तो तुम्हें आइडिया लगी ना आज एक यू नो एक पर्टिकुलर बोर्ड के साइड में चालू हो रहा है ऑब्वियसली बट मुझे कैसे पता होगा काम पे डाइट
Welcome to Loch Lomond, known as the Queen of Scottish Lochs. It's the largest expanse of fresh water in Great Britain, 23 miles long, 5 miles wide, and at the northern end, 636 feet deep, making it the third deepest in Scotland. The River Leven, which we're now leaving, is the loch's only outlet, running from here into the River Clyde and from there into the Atlantic Ocean. The area is home to an abundance of wildlife, and its history is as rich as the landscape that surrounds these mysterious waters. It's a place where kings have trod and outlaws have roamed, It has inspired writers, musicians and artists for generations. It was during the Victorian era that Loch Lomond gained renown. Visitors were drawn from across the world, thanks in large part to the romantic novels of the likes of Tobias Smollett and Sir Walter Scott. Day trippers would travel here by train from Glasgow to cruise aboard large paddle steamers like the one we're passing on the left. This is the Maid of the Loch, the very last paddle steamer to be built in Britain. She was built in 1953 on the River Clyde in Glasgow, which was, between the late 19th century and the early 1950s, the world's premier shipbuilding city. She represents those bygone days when she and many ships like her would sail the length of the loch filled with visitors. These ships also provided a valuable mail and transportation service to the local communities. As with many steam-powered vehicles, mounting maintenance and running costs saw the ship retired in 1981. She now stands as a monument to both Glasgow shipbuilding and Loch Lomond's steam-powered past.
I'm not saying proper जहाँ पे टॉप हो मतलब कि टॉप से देखो अलग नहीं सिविल में अरे जस्ट टू सी द इंटीरियर मैम उसको देखना मतलब मुझे ऐसा चलने पे नहीं वो तो बोलो अलाउड नहीं है स्पेशली इन कंपनी वाले के रूल ज़्यादा होते हैं मतलब लाइक जो खड़ी हुई है वैसे लाइक कोई वैसा खड़ी हुई जैसे म्यूजियम टाइप देख क्या द लार्जेस्ट ones are because VLCC like इसके at least 8 in over out during the standing they'll be anchored in the seas above near the boat allowed नहीं है सिस्टम को जुगाड़ निकाल लिया है मैं शौक है बे कोशिश तो कर जाएंगे दिन में I'm not saying ओके भी सीरीज चलना है वैसे मतलब एक खाना भी देख सकते हैं 8-10 बजे बहुत यार संबंध तो होगा The large building we're passing on our left is Cameron House. Cameron House was built in the 18th century by the Smollett family, shipbuilders and merchants, whose most famous member was the poet and novelist Tobias Smollett. Such was the wealth and influence of the Smolletts, the house has welcomed a few famous guests in its time,
former Prime Ministers Winston Churchill and Anthony Eden, as well as Empress Eugenie of France, have all visited here. As was the case with many ancestral homes across Britain, the costs of upkeep, staff and servants became unsustainable for the family. It was sold in 1986, and after extensive additions to the original building, Cameron House was converted into a luxury 5-star hotel. Nowadays, famous faces walking through the old corridors belong to pop stars or football players. The late Michael Jackson once described the hotel and Loch Lomond as one of his favourite places to visit. Unfortunately, due to a fire in the main building in December 2017, Cameron House has been closed while major refurbishments take place. It is hoped the hotel will be fully operational again in the near future. The large house on the hill to the left that you may be able to spot between the trees is Auchendennan House. Auchendennan House was commissioned in 1860 by the Glasgow-based tobacco merchant George Martin and was designed by famed Scottish architect John Burnet. During the Second World War, the house was used as a convalescent home for American servicemen coming from the front in France. After the war, as a goodwill gesture, the house was converted into a youth hostel thanks to a generous donation from American trade unions. The house remained a youth hostel until 2012, when it was bought over and converted into a 27-bedroom private home once again. Legend has it, the house marks the site of the hunting lodge of King Robert the Bruce, who owned much of the land and islands on Loch Lomond. These he used as his private hunting estate, introducing many of the deer and game birds to the islands and surrounding area.
Same view but without all the wind.